Yo, so I wanted to make this video for you real quick. Two things. One, I want to intro some of the concepts that are involved with what actually makes somebody bouncy and have a higher vert. And how can we become more explosive? And it's one thing to be like, you know, some people you watch them and they're like, yeah, they can dunk, but it's like, it's not like bouncy. They don't have the like, it's not, there's some people who, when they jump, it looks explosive, right? So there's a few ideas and concepts that I want to just share with you as we start to go down that path. One of them is, and this was a huge thing, okay? So there's a couple components. This was my original understanding of how can I jump higher and dunk, you know? And it comes down to a couple of things. One, removing as much body fat as possible, okay? So that's super important because fat can't flex. And there's a great quote by one of the guys that I really follow for vertical, the science of vertical, increasing your height on your verticals. And he goes, fat don't fly, or something along that lines. But it's, on a physiological level, like my fat can't contribute to me being explosive, plus because it doesn't flex, right? That's not what it does. But it also weighs me down. So like I'm 147, 5'11", and like I could dunk like anytime I want pretty easily. But if I put on, let's say 30 pounds, like a weight vest, I might be able to, just because I have been 185 and I was able to dunk. But like, I'm just making that so much difficult, and the weight is not actually helping me jump. So that's one. We will eliminate as much excess body fat as possible. Like, that's part of like my philosophy is you don't want fat on your body because it doesn't contribute to anything. It doesn't contribute to being able to move and being strong and like anything like that. The only thing fat contributes to is, in case you don't have food anymore, you'll be able to last a little bit longer than somebody who doesn't have any fat, right? But more importantly, like its only purpose is to store excess calories so you can use them later. That's it. The second part is getting strong. And so that means relative strength and absolute strength. So can I move my body weight with control? That's all the stuff that you've been doing. Airborne lunges, push-ups, just moving, not like being sloppy in your movement. Super important. The second part is absolute strength. How much can I actually squat, deadlift, press? And whether that's like with weight or body weight, like, you're adding more reps to your airborne lunges, to your push-ups, you're making them more difficult, right? So that's the two parts of strength that you need to increase, because if I'm lighter and I'm stronger, instantly I can jump higher, right? I can apply more force into the ground, right, through my body to throw my body into the sky, right? That's basically what's happening. Then the third part is having some type of, now you got to train the muscles to contract quickly, right? And that's where plyometrics come in. And the thing with plyometrics is that people like do it, they don't know how to do it and dose it properly. You actually don't need a lot. You actually need very little. And you actually have to treat it like lifting weights, not like how people do like 100 box jumps or like they're just doing shit all day long. That's not how it's done, right? Especially when they're trying to do jump higher on a higher box or whatever. So those are the three components. Now, one thing that I learned recently from a guy, Paul Faber, okay, is a big component to your, like, you have people who are strong and lean, but they can't jump. A big part of that is how stiff can you make your body, how stiff, specifically your ankles, okay? So if you think about a ball and it's flat, when you let it go, if it has any give, because it's not fully stiff and it's not fully inflated, what's gonna happen is the ball hits the ground, since it's not fully stiff, the ball absorbs, the rubber absorbs that impact and it doesn't bounce very high. But when you fill it up with air all the way and it's there's no give, the ball is super stiff, as soon as you let it go, it bounces higher. Your ankle is the exact same thing. So we need the ankle to be able to be stiff, right? And so that when I jump, can I land with stiffness, or does my ankle do I just collapse, my weight just collapse into my ankle, right? So obviously the heavier somebody is, that's also not, you don't want 50 extra pounds on your body, whatever, that's not our case, but like, I'm just saying, like 20, 30, 40 pounds excess on my joints. I don't want that. But as that weight's coming down and it's in appropriate range, then I want to start to train the stiffness of my ankles. And so and then, also teaching my muscles how to contract more quickly. All that to get to this point, which is, so what is going to be our intro to becoming more bouncy? We're gonna do very low level, and you would do these towards the end of any workout, right? Or at the end of like when you're playing, okay? After you're done shooting around. If you have more frequency of exposure to low level bounciness, right? We're just gonna call it that. It's going to condition the ankles to be more stiff, okay? And thus you can be more bouncy and apply more strength from your legs into the ground because your ankles are not collapsing every time, okay? So very simple. I'm just gonna show you two different variations of this. And like I said, you don't have to do a lot. You can do this frequently, but like you really gotta check yourself. Like this is not a workout. We just wanna do enough to cause change, right? So it's just bounding, different types of bounding, and I'll do it this way. And what I want you to pay attention to is how stiff I make my ankles so that I can bounce off the ground. I'm not trying to jump super high, I'm just trying to be bouncy, right? Think of like when you watch a kangaroo jump or like a rabbit jump, like it's bouncy, it's bouncy, it's bouncy, because they do it so often, right? But it's not like they're trying to jump as high as possible. Low level doses with high frequency of exposure. You do it a lot and you don't do it super intense. So let me do a couple. So this is the first one. All right, so those are just like two different skips, but hopefully what you can see is like, I'm not like collapsing into my ankle. I'm like, bounce, bounce, bounce. Here's another one. This is with both feet. And that's literally as much as I would do. Like, we want to start off with as little of a dose as possible to see how much change we can get. And you might find out like, oh shit, after a week or whatever, you're gonna find out, oh my God, like I've never felt this bouncy, right? But we don't wanna go more, we just wanna go enough, right? And so that's it. That's the first piece of the puzzle. And like I said, I would do that towards the end of a workout. Don't try to jump super high. Keep it chill. Keep those ankles stiff, right? Pay attention to what's happening in the ankle and the foot. And also trying to keep your whole body stiff too, right? Let me know if all that makes sense.